Hello, my friend. I am so excited to dive into this week's podcast episode for you on this week's astrology. It's going to be a juicy week. How was that full moon in Capricorn for you? I'm super curious, and I'll dive a bit deeper into the full moon in Capricorn that's happening for us in July, because we will be having two full moons in Capricorn this year, which is super interesting, pretty rare, and I'll talk a little bit about this as a preview for July's astrology. I'll dive deeper into the transits of this week for you, what to expect, how to best prepare, and I'll also be sharing a story on the dark side of Saturn, and especially when it comes to dating. So this is going to be really juicy. I'll share a personal story and reflection on this. That's going to be really fun. And we'll end off this podcast episode with a tarot reading of what energy to embrace, what energy to let go of this week. So I'm excited. Let's dive right in. So let's first start off with June 26th. On June 26th, Mercury in Cancer is trine Saturn in Pisces, and this is a very lovely, supportive energy. This feels as though we could be having some very comforting conversations, especially with family members, such as our mother, father, or any parental figure. This could also look like having a very comforting, nurturing conversation with a boss or a different kind of authority figure. This feels as though we're getting the support and structure we need when it comes to our long-term vision. So maybe you are planning out something in terms of your family life and you're having more conversations around this. Or maybe you started a new job and you're trying to get on track with how things will unfold for you in the next few months and your boss is giving you support on this. This is a really comforting energy. This is a very soothing energy. So I see this as a very loving boost that we have. So really good to note for June 26th. Then on the same day, we have Venus in Cancer square the North Node in Aries. So not all of us will feel this. However, this is a day to really think about your values and how it corresponds to what you truly desire long term. How do your values reflect how you're taking care of your wants and needs? How do your values reflect how you perceive your sense of worthiness? These are some questions to ask yourself. Are you nurturing yourself in a way that shows you that you're taking care of yourself? I am going to use myself as an example, yet I remember just reading an email and it was a good reminder that I just needed to treat myself to a haircut, which I haven't done in a few months, but this was just a very simple, small thing that I knew I needed to do, but there were external reminders that told me, actually, this is a great thing to do to just show yourself that you value yourself, that you want to take care of yourself in this way, that maybe you don't necessarily need a certain thing, but maybe it is something that shows you, no, this is something that will benefit me in terms of how I feel about myself, and this is what I want to prioritize. So this is just a small example. Then on June 28th, Mercury in Cancer is square Chiron in Aries. So conversations can be a little bit tense on the 28th. We could feel like a trigger from the past comes up for us, especially if we have any conversations with a mother figure. We could feel as though wounds around our sense of worthiness are coming out, and we can be a little bit emotional about this. This is the day to take care of yourself, to make sure you're speaking to yourself in a kind way, to make sure you know that if someone is a little bit more defensive or someone is saying something and it hurts you, it's okay to be vulnerable and open with them about this. Just note that people are also in a very sensitive place. So on this day, I would caution in terms of doing a lot or overbooking yourself, because that could also feel a little bit overwhelming. But just know that the words that are said this day, just remind yourself that what other people say or think of you do not determine your value or your worth. I think we all need that reminder. Remind yourself that only you can determine how you value yourself. And the more you can remind yourself that you are innately worthy, the better you're going to feel. So take care of yourself this day. And then on June 29th, we have Venus in Cancer, sextile Mars in Taurus. This is a really fun, flirty energy. This is honestly someone really lining up their actions to their values. You could feel like someone's being very supportive right now, or your connections can feel really uplifting, especially when it comes to your home or your daily routine. I see this as maybe you are taking the actions you need to take in your daily routine to really comfort yourself, to really nurture yourself, and you're feeling a lot more uplifted by this. This could also look like a really cute at-home date. This could look like going to a really cozy spot and taking yourself out on a date. I really, really love this energy. On the same day, Saturn in Pisces goes retrograde. So Saturn is a slow-moving planet, so not all of us will feel this retrograde. Yet, we all are going to be affected. And with Saturn retrograde, we're learning lessons about structure and systems, especially when it comes to our creative work, our spiritual partnerships, our emotional capacity to take care of ourselves, how we emotionally process, our connection to the collective energy. We are going to really be reflecting over the next few months on how can we better the systems and structures and boundaries that we have in place for our spiritual practice, our creative partnerships, and how we emotionally take care of ourselves. How do we take care of our mental health? So if you are an Aquarius or Capricorn rising, this will affect you more. If you have a lot of Aquarius and Capricorn placements, this will affect you more. I always see Saturn retrograde as a time when we have to boss up and really figure out, okay, how am I actually being committed to myself? Am I taking responsibility for the things I need to take responsibility for? What does that look like? With Saturn in Pisces, I think this looks like us taking more responsibility on for what's happening in the world. Maybe you could be more involved in protests, or you could be in a place where you're thinking about how can I help more people. This could also look like just figuring out, okay, how can I better take care of my mental health? Am I doing the things I need to take care of my mental health? Am I joining the communities that really uplift me and support me? Am I in a place where I can spiritually connect? Am I making space and time for this? Like, if you feel like your life is feeling really unfulfilled and you're just in your routine and you're not really understanding, okay, is this right for me? Something feels off. Saturn retrograde in Pisces is going to let you know that you need to make some more time for yourself. Maybe that is journaling every morning. Maybe that's joining a very spiritual, soulful community. Maybe that is getting private sessions with a mentor or coach, or getting a birth chart reading or a tarot reading, or doing things that nourish your soul, like starting a yoga practice or traveling somewhere that you haven't been, or getting more involved in community work to help the community around you. So really think about this. If you're in your Saturn return, you're going to really feel this. And if you have your Saturn around 18 to 19 degrees, this is going to be your next test. If you have Saturn in Pisces and you're currently in your Saturn return. Yet, I will say that the second or third hit of Saturn when retrograde during a Saturn return is a little bit easier than the first hit. This is coming from personal experience, but also the experiences I've seen through giving birth chart readings to so many people. Yet it's a good confirmation of knowing, actually, wait, I need to take better care of myself, or actually, I wasn't doing this the first time. I need to create a better structure this time. So it's a good reminder. If you haven't been listening to Saturn, then this could affect you a lot, and it could feel a little bit more difficult or tricky to create systems and structures for your well-being. But if you have been listening to Saturn, this can be really helpful. So keep this in mind. Do not fear retrogrades. We all need retrogrades. Retrogrades help us reflect and revise and revisit. And with Saturn, we are trying to change up our systems and structures and boundaries. And this could also look like our relationship to boundaries with other people. So keep this in mind. If you haven't been setting boundaries, you're going to feel that now. And Saturn's going to ask you to step it up. Now on June 30th, we have Mercury in Cancer sextile Uranus in Taurus. This is really fun. This is a lovely surprise. You could be receiving some lovely news. This could also look like an epiphany, especially around your finances or home life or family life. This could also look like a breakthrough or just an innovative idea of doing things differently. So maybe you're brainstorming on how to make more money, or maybe you are figuring out how to really create a home environment for yourself that you really love, that feels more safe and cozy. Or maybe you are getting an idea of how to better take care of your emotions and feelings and yourself. This could look like a few different things, but I really love this day. I think we're going to get some exciting ideas that are different and unique. Someone could be reaching out to you about these topics too. This could also be an idea for an artistic project. Maybe you get very inspired. Maybe you think of a different idea for a business, or you're thinking of a way to change up something in your life. So Uranus energy really gives us some breakthroughs. It's a very exciting, different energy. It's a wild card type of energy. And those are the major transits of this week. Yet I do want to talk a little bit about the full moon in Capricorn in July, because we just had the full moon in Capricorn on June 21st. So this is really interesting. We don't usually have two full moons back to back in the same sign. Yet on June 21st, we had the full moon in Capricorn at 1 degree. And now at the end of Cancer season on July 21st, we have the full moon in Capricorn at 29 degrees. So when I'm looking at this looks like there isn't something that we've fully released for the month. There's something that's still lingering for us that we have to release and let go of. So maybe you are emotionally processing something where you need to think about things in a different way or receive new information. With a full moon in Capricorn, this can feel a little bit uncomfortable. Really be careful not to be blocking your emotions at all. This also looks like we're really thinking about better systems and tools for us to emotionally process, but also there's a huge focus between our work and career and our family and home life with the Cancer Capricorn axis, since we're in Cancer season. So this axis is our internal and external world. So how does how you emotionally process at home reflect how you are working in your career? How does your family affect the work you do? How does where you live reflect your relationship to the public? These are some important questions to ask yourself with the Cancer Capricorn axis. I go through all the houses and the important dynamics between the opposing signs of your birth chart in my newest course, Shining as Your Authentic Self, if you're curious if astrology is something you want to study and learn. So I wanted to share this to help us understand that the next month is a bit of this reflective time where maybe you wanted to finish something, yet you have to push it back a month. Maybe there is something that you thought you've dealt with, that you thought you've finished, but you still need some extra time. You still need the time to process it. You still need the time to work on it. You still need the time to launch it or to let it go. And that's okay. And if you want to know how to manifest with these full moons, then I am hosting a full moon in Capricorn event tonight with the Moon Sign Creative Community. Come join us if you want to discover how this full moon is impacting your chart. And the reason why I say manifest is you can't call in new energy if you're not letting go of the past, if you feel stuck, if you feel stagnant, if you feel like there's this block that you have physically. And during full moon events, they're a great time to release and let go of the past, to declutter, to cleanse your energy. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in the Moon Sign Creative Community for both full moon and Capricorn events for June and July. So we'll be doing a healing art ritual for this. We'll also be talking about this full moon and how it's impacting your chart specifically. If you want to join us, I'll leave a link to that down below. We'll be happy to have you. And honestly, I have one of the best communities out there. Everyone is so sweet, so kind, so empathetic. I love them so much. I am super, super lucky. I honestly have one of the most supportive communities out there. So if you're looking for community, if you're looking to get in touch with your spirituality, if you're looking to do more fun events, then check it out down below. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the dark side of Saturn, especially when it comes to dating. So I will talk about the dark side of Saturn when it comes to work, but I thought it would be really fun to dive into the dark side of Saturn when it comes to dating, because this is when you feel like you're getting blocked from dating. This is what it feels like when you feel like dating is super hard. It feels frustrating, it feels annoying, things feel really, really upsetting. Like you just feel like the universe is blocking you in some way. And I'm speaking on this from not only reading a bunch of birth charts, but also from personal experience having Saturn in my 5th house in whole sign. And I've heard so many astrologers say that Saturn in the 5th house is one of the hardest, most difficult places for Saturn to be in your birth chart, because the 5th house is the house of joy. The 5th house is the house of fun and creative expression and dating. Yet with Saturn there, it can be a lot more difficult to feel that joy, to be expressive, to be creative. And I want to argue this because even though it has been difficult for me to date in the last few years, because Saturn has been transiting my 5th house for the last 4 years, and I can honestly say it's been the most difficult to date in the last 4 years than it has been in the last, 10 years. Yet there is this beautiful benefit of Saturn in the 5th house when it's transiting your 5th house, because Saturn is making you get serious around entrepreneurship if you have a business. It's making you get serious around dating. It's making you get serious around your creative work. Are you putting in the work to express yourself? Are you doing the inner work to date? Are you taking the classes? Are you going to therapy? Are you really analyzing your birth chart to know which relationships are good for you. This is Saturn moving through the 5th house. Now, the funny thing is, Saturn for me has been in my 5th house since 2019. And this is when things started to be really difficult for me to date. I went through a breakup. I honestly was healing so much trauma, so much pain, even though I've been in therapy for years and years and years. It's been almost 10 years. Yet what I've learned with Saturn transiting my 5th house is I needed to get really serious about the people who deserved my energy and time. I had to be more discerning. And I also realized that, yes, this was hard for me. I did have my Saturn return with Saturn in Aquarius in my 4th house in Placidus and then 5th house in Whole Sign. And that was difficult for me, but it does get so much better. If you are in your Saturn return, just know that it gets so much better. Now, the funny thing is, Saturn just moved out of my 5th house after 4 years of transiting my 5th house. And that was the time when I finally went on a date after months, and it didn't work out, but it's just funny how literal astrology can be. The second Saturn left my 5th house, I got asked out on a date. So I thought that was really, really hilarious. And the thing is, I was also doing some research, and there was a different astrological technique that I looked at in my birth chart where I saw that Saturn was causing a lot more tension and difficulty for me to date than I initially thought. And I already knew there was going to be some tense aspects. I have so many Libra rising friends who have Saturn in their 5th house, yet they're getting engaged and getting married, which is amazing. Yet I started to question, okay, why is it so different for them than it is for me, right? And this is why getting a birth chart reading is so eye-opening, because once I dove deeper into my birth chart, I did get a few readings done by other astrologers that I highly respect. Yet, once I started to get a different perspective, because we all have blind spots. I have blind spots, you have blind spots, everyone has blind spots. When you're able to talk to someone else and they share a different perspective and they're able to look at your birth chart in a different way, that's when things start to really make sense, because we only know what we know, right? And for me, I discovered a different astrological technique, which I'm going to be sharing in my course, Shining as Your Authentic Self, my Astrology Foundations course with my students. So I'm really excited to share that with them. But this technique showed me that there were extra layers of Saturn when it came to my romantic relationships that have been blocking me from dating. And that's not to say that if you have Saturn in the 5th or 7th house that you can't date or you can't get engaged or married. I was super close to all of these things. I want to state that. I was very close to getting engaged in a previous relationship, yet Saturn wants you to think about the long term. Saturn wants you to get serious and understand which partner is best for you long term. Which partner will stand the test of time when it comes to marriage. So having really lovely Saturn aspects can be super, super helpful for you in terms of relationships. Yet the dark side of Saturn is making you really jaded around dating, making you really just shut off, block it out, not even take any chances. You don't even put yourself out there. And to be honest, I've had periods of that over the last 4 years. There's been times when I just needed a break, and that's totally okay. There's been times when I felt really discouraged and disappointed and upset, like, why is this happening to me? But always looking back at my birth chart, I realized this is for my own benefit. This is to help me in the future. So if you are going through a difficult time dating right now, look at where Saturn is for you. Are you choosing the right kind of people? Are you asking the right questions in the first few dates? Are you doing the inner work to be able to receive a relationship that is there for you, that's consistent? And going back to my dating story, the date that I went on, we just weren't a good match, but it's been a long time since I've had a guy initiate a date like this, where he planned out the date fully, he thought it through, he was considerate, he was kind, he was treating me, he was in his healthy masculine energy. And it made me really appreciate what he did, but also it showed me that I was choosing better matches for myself of what I actually want in a relationship. So I can see the progress of my dating life. It wasn't a perfect match, and I have been watching A Perfect Match quite a bit, but it showed me that there are people out there for you. And just know that when you look at Saturn and you feel like things are so hard and it's frustrating and you keep getting delayed, and it's like, where is it? Where is my manifestation? Why do I keep getting delayed? Why is this not happening? Saturn wants you to let it go. Saturn wants you to not care anymore. And that can be hard. Detachment is such a great theme to think of with Saturn, especially with Aquarius energy, because Saturn rules both Capricorn and Aquarius. And one of the strengths of Aquarius is that detachment that we need so that we can call in our manifestations, so we can call in what we actually desire. Because if you don't want it as much, if you are actually good where you are, where you're actually okay with whatever is happening to you, and you just trust the process, you have the undying faith that you will meet your person, and it doesn't matter what time. Saturn rules time. It doesn't matter what time, it just feels like you know what will happen when it's supposed to, and you're doing the things for yourself to best take care of yourself throughout the process, and you know you have the tools and the wisdom to take care of yourself throughout the process, then that's when things just happen for you. So just know that if you're going through a hard time, you're gonna be okay. Try and focus on yourself. I know that's like the last thing people want to hear, but really focus on the tools that can help you on your journey that you'll have for the rest of your life to take care of yourself in a way where you are your best partner, where you are constantly showing up as your favorite person, the highest version of yourself, and you are taking care of yourself. You're taking care of yourself by going out on dates. You're taking care of yourself by emotionally processing the past. You're taking care of yourself through any way that you feel you need. And if astrology is one of the tools you want to explore so you can learn it for the rest of your life, so that you can understand certain transits in your life, certain periods of your life better, so that you can be prepared to meet your person, you can be prepared for any challenge that comes your way, especially with the challenges of Saturn, which can be really harsh and really somber and really frustrating. And then check out my newest course, Shining as Your Authentic Self. This Astrology Foundations course really walks you through how to learn astrology in a really easy way so that you can better take care of yourself, so that you can learn how to do more inner child healing, you can do some shadow work, and this itself is going to give you that solid foundation of reading your birth chart so that you know how to show up as your best authentic self. And by showing up as your best partner, that's just going to attract more fulfilling, uplifting relationships into your life. If you're feeling called to it, check out the link for that down below. Feel free to DM me any questions you have. And let's get into your tarot reading for this week. So the first card out is the Empress card. So something this week is giving you this excitement around being in this healthy, empowered energy. So maybe you ended off the week with a very empowering week. Maybe you feel like you're in tune with your feminine energy, whatever that looks like to you specifically. But this can feel like you're feeling very creative, very expressive. I also see this card as a sign that if you're looking to get pregnant, you might hear news of that soon. Yet, I also see this card as feeling super, super in tune with your intuition. This makes so much sense with Cancer season. And this is a very lovely, nurturing energy. This is a very supportive, uplifting energy. You could be having more conversations around children this week. You could be having more conversations of what would put you in a very expressive and creative energy. So lean into those conversations, lean into this empowered state, because later this week we have the Nine of Cups reverse. So this kind of looks like midweek. There is this situation that could occur where you're feeling a little bit less confident, or you just feel like you're not where you want to be emotionally, or you aren't in the place where you're fully processing what you want to process. So take time this week for yourself to process your emotions, to process how you feel, to really let go of this idea that things have to be hard. It can be easy. I'm hearing that message, but I also see this card as realize that your strength and your power is within you. Realize that your independence is a beautiful thing. And yes, sometimes we do need to compromise. Sometimes we do, and we always need other people. Yet really recognize that you're worthy just as you are. You do not need to constantly prove yourself. You do not need to constantly put yourself out there. Sometimes it's okay to just sit back and just process how far you've come, but also take care of yourself. Like maybe you're neglecting your emotional needs right now. Make sure you focus on this right now, because that's going to be really helpful. The next card out is the Four of Cups, which it seems like there's a situation this week where we're a little bit disappointed by something. Maybe we get an offer for something, but it's not what we expected. It's not exactly what we wanted. It feels a little bit upsetting. It feels a little bit discouraging. Yet, this is a reminder that there's still so many great things that are happening for you. Maybe it's not exactly what you want, but it's telling you that you are still magnetic because you are attracting certain opportunities. This is a reminder that you are still super, super lucky. You are still in a really abundant place. Just know this and focus on what you do have, because that's going to really help you grow and attract what you want more of. So really interesting. I asked what our block is this week, and we got the Ace of Cups reverse. So we want this brand new emotional start. We want to feel replenished and nourished and more love. We just want more love. Yeah, we're feeling this block, which is really funny that I pulled this for the energy of this week and also the full moon in Capricorn that just passed. I will say that this is the week to really prioritize nurturing yourself. This is the week to really give yourself that time to cry it out, to dance, to go for that walk, to take that class, to join that community, to do things that nourish you. Maybe make some art, or take that yoga class, or go to that sound bowl ritual. Whatever that is for you, focus on nurturing yourself this week. Focus on how can you show yourself more love and affection. Are you hyping yourself up? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you speaking to yourself in a kind way? If you haven't already, I have some love and money affirmations that I posted on my YouTube channel. They're completely free. And this is something that can be really nourishing for you to listen to. Just knowing that you can show yourself that love that you're craving, that you want. Think of yourself as a small child and do something for your inner child right now. For example, I went to go watch Inside Out 2, and that honestly really nurtured my inner child. That was something that I am so happy I went to go see with a friend, and I was crying in the movie, and I realized, like, wow, I'm not doing these fun things for myself as much as I wanted to. So whatever you can do to do something fun for yourself, for your inner child, that would really nurture them, do that this week. I asked what could help us this week, and we got the Three of Swords reverse. So we have a lot of releasing this week to do. We have a lot of past pain and hurt and sadness to let go of, especially around past heartbreaks. There could be some past pain that's lingering on. Even if you're in a relationship now, maybe you're having certain thoughts about an ex, or maybe you are reflecting on your past and it's making you feel a little bit sensitive. Just know that that is in the past, and it's okay to forgive ourselves for what happened in the past. It's okay to forgive those people. It doesn't mean that you're letting them back into your life. It's okay to walk forward. It's okay to spend some time to really do a healing ritual to let go and release the past, because I think we're feeling a lot of energy right now with that full moon in Capricorn. And whatever you can do to clear your energy, that's going to be super, super helpful for you. Finally, I'm going to end off with some oracle cards for you. We have Plant a Seed and Wait. So this is a great reminder to set some intentions, even though it's a full moon. With a full moon in Capricorn, reassessing your goals of what did you achieve from the last few months, and how do you have to redirect your energy? How do you have to redirect your time? Is going to be really important for the next 6 months. The next oracle card is It's Not a Competition. Don't compare yourself to others. Really just focus on yourself. I heard this beautiful saying, and it was about sometimes we all have to learn different lessons, and everyone is on a different path. Sometimes one person has to experience something in a different way to learn the same lesson. And I am paraphrasing, but it's a great reminder that comparison is the thief of joy. So whatever you can do to remind yourself that we don't know what other people are going through. We don't know how someone else is emotionally feeling. We don't know if their mansion is actually going to make them happy, even though sometimes it can, for sure, but it's understanding that there's no point in comparing yourself to other people. But if you can get inspired from that, if you can take that energy and transmute it into, this is possible for me. This is possible for me too. If my friends are in healthy romantic relationships, this is showing me that this is so possible for me. So I really heard that message. And lastly, the last card is Begin Again. So even though this is a full moon, we're getting some brand new energy with Cancer season, which I love. So just know that you need to clear your energy to call in that beautiful new beginning for you. So I'm excited for you. Please let me know how this week goes for you. If you'd like a private session with me, I'll leave a link to that down below. If you want to dive deep into learning astrology and really uncovering the secrets of your birth chart to better your relationships to not only those around you, but to yourself, then check out my course. And I'm sending you so much love, friend. Take care.